historic year for aviation, because 1914, 100 years ago, was the very first time with a scheduled flight passenger. The 1st of January 1914 was the first passenger on a scheduled flight in aviation. It was in Florida, and the flight was 23 minutes. It was 40 kilometers and 23 minutes, so average speed was like 100 kilometers. The flight consisted of only one passenger. He bought the ticket in a lottery, so he paid the most, so he got the ticket. So 100 years later, 2014, this is a global industry. How much passengers do we expect this year? What do you think? How many passengers? Billions?
Yeah.
3.3 billions are expected this year.
Wow.
So this is half of the globe is traveling this year on an aircraft. But could we say it is a very successful industry? Yes, it is a successful industry in terms of technology, in terms of development. Who would have thought 50 years ago that we would see something like an A380 flying with 520 tons leaving an airport and keeping in the air for 10 or 12 hours? Who would have thought that we would be able to have long-haul flights without intermediate stops from Europe to the US or from Europe to South America today? Who would have thought that we will be in a situation that normal middle-class people will be able to travel from Europe to Brazil or from Brazil to the United States? Because I shouldn't say flying is cheap, but you know, it's affordable. When 50 or 60 years ago it was a luxury and people dressed up with a tie and a suit and, you know, preparing for a flight to have a special luxurious experience. So I said, yes, it is a successful industry when we talk about high tech and technology. But from the business side, is it a successful industry? No, it's not. It's an awful industry. It's a sick industry. This industry is so sick that we have to say, you know, I like to quote always Warren Buffett, this famous billionaire from the United States. He was asked why he is not investing in airlines. Because he's invested in Coca-Cola and in Gillette and all these big companies, and he makes millions and billions of money. And he was asked in an interview, why don't you invest in airlines? And he told a story. He said, when the brothers Wright invented flying more than 105, 110 years ago, if there was a capitalist around with this first flight, he should have shot the two guys immediately. Because this industry never made money. What is the average profit for an airline worldwide per sold ticket? What do you think? All airlines together worldwide, first class, business class, economy class together. How much dollars does an airline make per sold ticket in average worldwide? What do you think? How many dollars?
No idea.
$40.
No idea.
What do you think? Just guess. How many dollars?
Something like 100 or
$100?
No, $50.
$50? So it is $5.60. $5.60. This is the average profit per sold ticket. Yeah. So you can imagine if you exchange in an aircraft the paper napkin by a cotton napkin, which you have to collect and you have to clean, you bring to dry clean, your profit is gone. If you just add a roll with ham and cheese, you know, your profit is half. So airlines are still suffering. Yes, we are seeing some airlines in some areas of the world who are still very successful. Especially South America and Central America, you know, Copa Airlines or Avianca, they are really very successful. I think Copa is one of the most successful airlines of the world when it comes to profit. But when you ask the owner of Copa, what is the secret of your success? He says, no long-haul flights. We just fly Boeing 737 on Embraer. No 747, no A380, no Boeing 777, you know, only mid-haul and short-haul, you know, collecting all the passengers from Central America and South America. You bring them to Panama and then other airlines can do the long-haul. Because long-haul is not too easy to make profits. It's never easy to make profits in aviation, you know. Still, when I said it's a sick industry, and you understand that these $5.60 in average profit per ticket is really difficult to survive, then you also have to take into account what is the profitability situation of Europe last year. What do you think? What was the profit of European airlines last year in average? What do you think? How many percent?
Oh,
For each
20,
euro we collect,
Left.
how much per percentage?
20 or something like
20 per, oh no, that's copper. 20% is
that. It's a lot.
not in Europe. No, it's 1.3%. Average profit in Europe for airlines is 1.3%. With Lufthansa we are lucky, we have like 2 to 3%. So we are the top in Europe. But you know, so you can see some airlines don't even make any more money. And 1.3% is the worst in the world. The African airlines had a profit margin of 1.8%. So African airlines last year were performing much better than European airlines. So what's wrong in this industry? What are we doing wrong? Or what happened why this industry isn't really successful? And I perhaps 3 or 4 ideas why it is, just in examples and numbers. In the last 15 years, the average cost for an airline ticket in the US went up like 10%. Inflation taking into account. So in average 10%. How much did fuel cost go up in these 15 years? What do you think?
3 times more.
188%. So the fuel cost went up like 188%, and your rates for the ticket went up 10%. So this is something which is very hard for airlines. Lufthansa pays every year 7 billion euro just for fuel. This is $9 billion. We use as many fuel as the entire country of Finland. The entire country of Finland uses as much fuel as only Lufthansa in Germany. So this is one point. The second point is, of course, competition. Because, and you in Brazil, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, a few years ago there was Varig, yeah, and they could reign here, you know, and you had perhaps 1 or 2 other airlines. But now we have low-cost airlines, especially in Europe, where low-cost airlines have actually destroyed the model of legacy airlines. 20 years ago, if you flew with Lufthansa from Frankfurt to Paris, in average you had to pay like 300 euro. Today you can forget a ticket in Europe for more than 150 or 200 euro. So prices have gone down because we have low-cost carriers who offer a ticket for 30, 40, sometimes for 20 euro. They can do it because they fly from cheap airports. They don't have amenities on board, they don't have cargo, they don't have newspapers, they don't have food. They cash in money for everything you want to bring, you know, they cash in for luggage. If you want to change your ticket, you have to pay. If you pay with credit card, you have to pay. If you want to print a boarding pass, you have to pay. If you want food, you have to pay. If you want a drink, you have to pay, you know. If you have 500 grams more in your luggage, you have to pay, you have to pay, you have to pay. Very successful, but the pressure for the existing airlines has increased tremendously. At this time, 10 years ago, we said, okay, they are hurting us. That's okay. In Europe, you know, we lose a lot of money, but still we have long haul. On long haul, you know, it's fine. We are great. We make money on long haul. This has changed as well. So these big airlines like, you know, British Airways or South African, Air France or Lufthansa, you know, 10, 20 years ago, we had a monopoly somehow because these legacy airlines we knew from Europe, US, from South America. But now we have carriers from the Middle East coming, like the Etihads, the Emirates, the Qatars, even Turkish Airways, Turkish Airlines, coming, investing a lot of money and offering cheap prices. Why can they offer cheap prices? Because Dubai, people who work there, at least at the airport, they are from the Philippines, they are from India, they are from Bangladesh, they are from Pakistan. They don't need retirement money, they don't have unions, they can't go on vacation, you know, they don't have special contracts. If they retire in Dubai, they have to leave the country, they don't get any money. So that's a big advantage we, as the so-called legacy carriers in Europe, we can't offer. So, but they are there, these airlines, and they are there to stay. just another number. Lufthansa is the biggest carrier of A380 in Europe. We have ordered 14 A380, which is a lot. One A380 is like 300, 400 million US dollars. We are a country of 81 million people. So we thought 14 A380 for a big country, you know, we need big aircraft. Dubai is a country of 3 to 4 million people. Their national carrier is Emirates. How much A380 did they order? Who knows? 50? No.
No, like
140. They ordered 140 A380. This is 10 times more than the biggest country in Europe with 81 million inhabitants. So you can see, and that's only A380. They ordered 150 777 as well. And they have already an existing fleet of, you know, more than 100 long-haul aircraft. And this is only Emirates. There's also Etihad. And there's Qatar, and there's Turkish Airlines, and they are buying aircraft like crazy. So just to give you an idea of the revolution the airline industry has seen in the last 10-15 years. Yes, we are flying more people than ever. Yes, for consumers, it is great because you have a big choice and actually prices have gone down. If you look on inflation, you know, prices have gone down. If you flew 50 years ago, a ticket over the North Atlantic was like half your monthly salary or sometimes your monthly salary. You had to pay a lot, and if you flew with your family, you know, you had to work for 2 or 3 years to afford airline tickets. And today, you know, you can fly from Germany to New York if you want to for 400, 500 euro if there's a special offer, you know, from airlines. So I don't want to complain. It's still a wonderful industry, and that's why you are here. That's why I am here, because we believe it's a great industry. It's a fascinating industry, and it's an industry to stay.
The Lufthansa, we use the water to clean the aircraft and all the things. What you can tell us about this care with the environment?
So here's the question about environment. What are airlines doing about environment? And perhaps let me talk two minutes about what Lufthansa is doing about environment. As I said, fuel is the highest cost of an airline, and it's like for us it's 25 to 30% of Lufthansa Group, and just for passenger airline it's 35% of the cost is fuel. So to save fuel is our key interest, not only for the environment but also for our costs. If we bring down fuel by just 1%, this is 70 million euro, just 1%. So we work very much on ideas how to bring down fuel costs and thereby saving the environment as well. We just 2 weeks ago we just introduced a very nice idea which we want to introduce into our entire fleet. You lose a lot of fuel when you leave the gate with the aircraft. You are at the gate with the aircraft, and the pilot turns on the engines. If you have a 747, it's 4 engines. So you turn on the engines, the aircraft is pushed back, you roll on the taxiway to the runway, and then you take off. So we thought of how can we save money by switching the engines on only at the runway. So we invented a kind of robot, we call it the taxi bot. And the taxi bot is like an electric carrier which is at the front wheel of the aircraft. The pilot is steering it, it's electric, and you can switch off the engines, you don't need your engines, you use the taxi bot to the runway, and then you switch on the engines and you can go. That saves a lot of fuel. Just think of these thousands of flights we have every day. And a taxiway can be like 2 kilometers, you know, at the airport. It can be a huge long way, and it's like 20 minutes, and you use like 2 or 3 tons of fuel. and you don't need that anymore. And this counts for millions of tons you can save in just this taxi book. This is something we just introduced to the media in Germany. You can see it on the website. There's a press release, yeah, and we hope to introduce it very soon for the entire Lufthansa fleet. And there are hundreds of ideas how to really work on bringing fuel consumption down. It's sometimes the tiny things. Our wine bottles in economy class, we ask our providers, don't bring them in glass, bring them in plastic, because plastic bottles save a lot of fuel. Our menus in paper, we give in business class and first class, we give menus in paper. So we are thinking of putting them on the screen and then you choose from the screen. It's not a lot, paper, you know, but it's like 100 menus for each flight. We have 107 aircraft in long haul. So, and this adds up to tons of paper you save and tons of weight. So that's actually something where we very much work on activities like that.
Because I heard about the Lufthansa and he cares about, they care about the environment. And it's a great idea that you have.
Thank you.
Giulio Camerini, nice to meet you, and thank you very much for your invitation. Very welcome. This is one of the magazines that I write. And that's why I made a question about environment, because I have been all about Lufthansa environment, and you are, congratulations, because you are doing a very, very good job.
Thank you very much. That's good to hear. Yeah, thank you. We try. Yes.
Oh, yes. And I'm going to write about that on this magazine. And I wish you a very, very lucky home. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you very much.